Hello guys, welcome to today's session of DevOps. Today, my name is Venkatesh and I'll be taking the demo for today. So please confirm whether you guys are able to hear me. You can unmute yourself or you can just say yes. Okay, fine, Srinivas. Thank you. So let's start. Okay. So I hope this is your first session for this demo. If it is not, please confirm. Okay. So thank you, Srinivas. So let's start. Okay. So before going into the technical part, let me introduce myself. My name is Venkatesh, and I have 8 years of experience in the IT industry. I have worked for Wipro and Capgemini, and I'm currently working for Tata Consultancy Services. And I'm a corporate trainer as well. I have taken several trainings for the DevOps freshers in my company, and I was also a part of the interview panel while I was working for Capgemini. Okay, so I have conducted several campus drives for DevOps and other IT industry openings. Okay, so let's start our demo. So I hope you guys are from Hyderabad. If not, no problem. So I hope you have seen these companies, right? Ola and Uber, and I hope you guys might be using these apps on your phone, right? So have you ever used the left-hand side companies? Okay. The question is that have you ever listened to have you ever seen these left side companies? So the If yes, okay, or else no problem. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is this Ola and Uber, these companies have started their apps into the market first. Okay, whereas these companies, these left-hand side companies, these companies were started in the year 2005 and 2006. Whereas the right-hand side, Ola and Uber, were started in the year 2010 and 2011. So even though the left side companies, three these three companies were there in the market from 2005 and they had a 5 years gap. Okay, and these companies were started in 2010 and 2011. So even after 5 years gap, even though these companies started 5 years before, they are not the number one company in the cab industry. Am I right? They are not the number one companies in the cab industry. So just give me a second now. So hi Nagendra, good morning. So is this your first session?
Yeah, I've actually attended a few demo sessions last week, and this is my first real session.
Okay, so you have attended my session, I mean, the session which I have taken.
Yeah,
Okay, so what was the last session which you have listened, where we completed in our last session?
just taught us on creating this AWS account along with EC2,
Okay,
and
fine.
after
So,
that, yeah,
okay, Nagendra. So, Nagendra, so since you have attended the demo on Thursday and Friday, what we'll do is like we'll continue our sessions from tomorrow onwards. Okay, same time.
okay,
So what is happening today is like we have some new joinees today. Okay, we have some new
okay,
joinees and I'll be taking a demo for the new students. So
okay,
guys who have already attended the demo on Thursday and Friday, so bear with me for today. Okay, only for
okay.
today, and from tomorrow onwards we'll regularly continue our classes. Okay,
Yeah,
so what I'm
fine,
trying to
fine.
do is like I'm going to mingle these guys with you guys. Okay, so if you want to listen to the demo again, then fine, or else you guys can take rest for today. Okay, it's up to you guys. If you want to listen once again, then fine. So yeah, so if anyone else has joined, any new joinees, I think no. Okay, so I was just telling you guys that these companies, the left-hand side companies, were started in the year 2005 and 2006, whereas these right-hand side companies were started in 2010 and 2011, right? Approximately in that time. So these companies, these left side companies had a 5 years gap. Okay, 5 years gap before these companies started, Ola and Uber. But still, these companies couldn't become the number one company. Okay, the reason behind is that they were using the traditional old method of booking a cab. Okay, how we like these companies were using this telephonic method in the sense, if I wanted a cab in that time in 2005 and 2006, I used to call to this company's customer care. I used to say that, hi, my name is so and so. I'm located here, and I have a flight to catch at 11 a.m. So please send a cab. This is what we used to say, and the person used to come, right? But when these companies started, okay, Ola and Uber, in 2010, the smartphone industry was booming. Okay, all these companies, uh, the Samsung, all these companies started innovating and launching new Android phones. Okay, uh, so Nagendra, can you please be on mute, please? So once the smartphone industry started booming, Ola and Uber Ola and Uber. Uh, just one second. Yeah. So when the smartphone industry started booming, Ola and Uber have decided that they have to launch this Android app. Okay, and this was the time when people were started using Android phones, right? And it was already it became a very huge hit. And once this Ola and Uber started, people started using these apps and became a very huge. I mean, it became a trend. Okay, people started using apps, and cabs used to come directly right in front of their homes, and it was all sorted out, right? No more calling to the customer care. Nothing was more complicated. Okay, so that's what changes happens. Like what I'm trying to say is, like, when a company wants to innovate something, when a company is trying to launch a new concept into the market, they will always try to launch as soon as possible. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Nagendra. Thanks. Yeah. So already a company which is trying to launch a new project, new idea into the market, they will always try to launch the product or launch the idea into the market as soon as possible. Okay. Now here to the 2020, in this year, if you go to Play Store, you will find apps of these companies as well. Okay, if you go to Play Store or App Store, if you are using Apple, you can find the apps of these companies as well. But still, people are still using this only. Okay, they'll be not using this because they have entered into the app industry. Okay, they have launched their Android apps or iOS apps. Um, they have they have launched their apps into the market in 2010, and since then they never looked back. Okay, and even though, so what I'm trying to say is, like, these companies have introduced this app, okay, cab app, into the market first, and since then people started using these apps, and companies never looked back. Okay, so we have something called organization goals. When a company is launching a product into the market, it will try to capture the market as soon as possible, because whoever comes into the market first, whoever comes into the market first, they'll be getting maximum number of users first, right? They'll be able to capture the market as much as they possible. For example, I'll give an example. You guys might have heard of Paytm, right? Paytm was the first company who introduced what do you call that, scanning and paying, right? It was the first company using which we started using our phone, and we started paying our bills, right? We used to go to a shop and we used to buy something, and we used to use Paytm and pay it, right? After that, a lot of companies, Google Pay, Phone Pay, Amazon Pay, and a lot of other companies started using that, right? Using this same concept, they have introduced their products as well. But still, who was the first company, who was the first product um, which came into this market of what do you call this, payments app? Paytm was the first company, right? So since in the same way, whenever a company is trying to launch its product into the market first, it will try to launch it as soon as possible, so that it will gain a maximum number of customers. Okay, when these companies, Google Pay, Phone Pay, Amazon Pay, they tried to launch their product, what they did, they started giving coupons and cashbacks and other discounts to attract the customers, because they know that Paytm is already in the market, and we have to beat Paytm by giving some additional offers. Okay, so in this, I remember when I started using GPay, Google Pay, I have received some 1 or 200 cashback in a single transactions, right? Many of my friends also got like around 1,000 rupees, 800 rupees when they were started using Google Pay. Okay, so in the same way, when a company wants to attract some customers, they have to give some discounts, because if it is not the first product in the market. Okay, so we have something called organizational goals. We have something called organizational goals, which every company will try to focus on. Okay, so we'll see that first, then we'll move on to the software development lifecycle. So organizational goals: faster delivery of the product into the market to achieve maximum market share. Okay. So whatever the product or application is, okay, see, first of all, these organization goals are something when an organization is trying to launch a product into the market, or when it is trying to become the number one company in the market, okay, by gaining maximum number of customers, okay, and to achieve that number one position, a company will set up some goals. A company will set that organization will set up some goals. Okay, there might be many goals there might be many goals. Okay, but these are the some of the important goals which we need to understand and discuss first. Okay, this will be the some of the important goals which every company will have, and which we need to discuss first in order to understand DevOps. Okay, the first one is faster delivery of the product. So faster delivery of the product means, when a company is trying to launch its product into the market, whatever the product or application is, okay, whatever the product or application is, the organization will try to deliver the product into the market as soon as possible. Okay, because when it's try to launch the product into the market as soon as possible, it will attract maximum number of customers. Okay, the second one is higher quality. When delivering a product into the market, the quality shouldn't be compromised. Okay, because if your product is having a very less quality, obviously the people will not opt for that, right? So the more the quality of the product is, the more customers will buy it. So a company will always focus on higher quality as well. The third point is less expenditure. So if the expenditure to if the expenditure to complete the project is very less, we can expect more returns, right? When the expenditure is very less, the organization will obviously gain more returns. Okay, my voice is very slow. Uh, Srinivas, can you please increase your volume and try to check it once? Other guys, Pranav, Pravath, Robin, can you guys hear me clearly? Okay, okay, fine. So let me know if you are still facing any audio issues. Okay, I'll try to correct it from my side. Fine. So we were discussing about the less expenditure. So if the expenditure to complete the project is very less, the company will obviously gain very good returns, right? When a company is gaining good returns, obviously it will try to develop more products and it will try to achieve the number one position, right? So and the last and most important one is minimized outages. Okay, when obviously a company will face some of the challenges while it has launched a product, or while it is launching a product, it will face some challenges in the organization, right? So whatever the issue is, whatever the issue or outage happens, okay, if the organization resolves it very soon, the impact will be very less. Okay, which means that very few customers will be affected. Okay, very few customers will be affected again, which means that less loss to the company. Okay, when an issue happens, if the companies try to resolve it as soon as possible, very few people will be affected, very few customers will be affected because of that loss, and obviously less loss to the company. Very recently, on December 14th, you guys might have heard of it. Google's Gmail and YouTube Maps and a lot of other services were down. Do you guys remember that? So what happens is like Google's Google, a company like Google's services were down, which means that it can happen to a small company as well, right? Uh, there are so many engineers working in Google, so many precautions, so many security measures are taken. Still, those services were down, which means that this can happen to any company in the world, right? Even though the financial loss to Google was very less, and obviously Google is a very big company, the financial loss which happened on that particular day because of these services were down, it might be very less, or it might be very low, but still it sends a very bad message to the customers, the people who are using Gmail, Maps and all. It sends a bad message to the customers who are using these services, right? They will obviously look for alternative options, but currently there are no alternative options apart from Gmaps or Gmail. I mean, there are there, but the quality is right, which is unmatchable, right? That's why, see, just imagine you a person who is driving a Uber cab, okay, and he has to rely on Google Maps for location and all those things, right? And entire day the Google Maps is down, obviously it has affected his business, right? He can't drive the cab and he can't go anywhere, right? So in the same way, when a company is having any issue, if it tries to resolve it as soon as possible, on that particular day the driver might have like he might have completed few trips and he might have earned some money, right? So that is what a company will always try to focus on. It will try to minimize the outages and losses, and it will try to recover the losses as soon as possible. Okay. So these are some of the important organization goals which we need to understand first to further go into the DevOps concepts. Okay. So now what I will try to do is, like, I'll give you a small example. So whenever a company is trying to launch a product, whenever a company is trying to launch a product, what it will do is, like, first its development team will start writing the code for that particular application. Okay, it will start the company's development team will start writing the code for that particular application. So once the code is developed, the the product will be moved into the market, right? The product will be moved into the market. Moved into the market means it will be available for the customers. Okay. Now this environment where the product is available for the available for the customers, it is called as production. Okay, because it is producing money for the company, right? So I'll repeat that. When a company is trying to launch a product, the development team of that particular company will start writing the code, and it will deliver the product into the customers. Okay, the stage where the product is available for the customers is called as production, and the process of writing the code and delivering into the production stage is called as delivery. Okay, delivery. Now, what will happen in the production? Customers will start buying that product. They will start using that, and if they face any issues, they will give feedback to the company. Am I right? If you are using an app, for example, you are using an app from App Store or Play Store, you have downloaded that app, you have started using that app, and if you feel it is good, if you feel it is good, and if it is feel that it is worth, you will give a very good review on the Play Store. Am I right? In the same way, people will start giving feedback if they have any issues, or if they face any bugs or something, they'll give feedback to the company. So this process of giving feedback to the company is called as feedback stage. Okay. Now feedback includes three major things. One is enhancements. Okay. One is enhancements. Second one is bug fix. Okay. And third one is errors and issues. Errors and uh, issues. Okay. So enhancements means when a company is launching its application or a product, okay, they'll try to enhance it by adding new features. Okay, new ideas or new features, or changing the user interface. All those things will be coming under enhancements. Bugs. Already the app is working fine, but when they click on something, if something wrong is happening, okay, some kind of a bug is present, then they will try to fix those bugs. and errors and issues. Some other errors and issues faced by the customers, like login issues, username password issues, or some other issues. All those issues will be resolved in this category. Okay, so feedback includes these major parts. Okay, three major parts: enhancements, bug fixes, and error issues. Now, this whole process of developing the code, delivering that product to the customers, and once the product is in the market, customers will be start using that, and they will give feedback back to the company. So this whole process is called as SDLC. Okay, SDLC. Now, SDLC means software development life cycle. Okay, software development life cycle. Okay, so this whole setup, developing the code, delivering it to the client, and client is giving us the feedback again. The changes are being done again, delivering the product to the client. All this is a complete cycle. Okay, this is a complete software development life cycle, and this was a very simplistic idea. Okay, just to give you an idea about how the software development goes on, I have given this idea. But this whole process includes several steps. Okay, this whole process includes several steps. So let's try to understand those steps. What are those steps in software development lifecycle? And we'll go further into the DevOps concept. Okay, so software development lifecycle, as I've told you, we have just seen a very simplistic uh, way of software development. Now we'll understand what is software development as human life cycle, how our human life cycle has evolved. Okay, in the same way software development is having, as a human, in our human life cycle we have infant, childhood, teenage, adult, old age, then we will die, right? In the same way, in software development also we have some certain stages which will be it will be going on. Okay, in that particular life cycle only software development will be going on. Okay, so what is happening in software development first is, when a company is trying to create, or when a company is trying to launch a new product, okay, they will first create that idea. Okay, first they will try to have a idea about that particular concept. Okay, whatever the idea it is, they'll try to have that idea, they will try to develop that idea better, how it will be working, and what are the challenges we can face. All those things will be coming into the idea part. Once the idea is ready, they'll start preparing the requirements. Okay, what are the requirements, like what kind of a team we need, how many engineers we need, how many people we need, how many systems we need, how many servers we need, what kind of environment we'll be working on. All those requirements, they will make a list of it. Once the once the requirement is done, they'll start designing that project. Okay, they'll try to design the project. What are the stages will be involved, from where to where. Once this stage is ready, from that particular stage, what can be developed next, all those designing part will be done in the designing stage. Once the designing is done, the actual development will start. From here the major part starts. Okay, here the major part starts. Now here what will happen is, the development team of that particular company will start developing the product. Okay, whether it's a Java product, or a Android, or Python, whatever it is, that particular engineers will start developing the product. Okay, by writing the code. Okay, once the development is done, what they will do, they will build that product. Okay, there is here one more stage is there, we call it as build. Okay, we'll further discuss what is build and how it can be achieved. Okay, what are the tools involved in that, we'll discuss further in our classes. So as of now, just understand there is a process called build. Okay, so now once build is done, that particular code will be moved to the testing team. Now testing team will have a manual testing team, automation testing team. They'll perform different test cases. Okay, and once testing is successful, they'll deploy the code. Okay, they'll deploy the code. Now here one more stage is there in here, which is not present, which is called as QA. Okay, QA means quality assurance. Okay, quality assurance. There will be team called quality assurance. They'll verify the quality of that code, and they'll try to develop that code further. Okay, once the quality assurance tests are passed, that particular code will be deployed onto the servers. Okay, once it deployed into the servers, that will be handed over to the client, and the client will be giving us the feedbacks. Okay, client will client will be giving us the feedbacks. So based on the feedbacks, we'll be monitoring that particular application, and if there are any issues, we'll try to maintenance that. Okay, we'll try to maintain those issues and we'll give a better product to the client. So this is a very simplistic, I mean, this is the software development lifecycle which is going on in every project. Okay, you take whatever the project in this whole world. Okay, in this world, if you take any project, this is the like basic of these steps will be involved in this lifecycle. Most of these steps will be involved in that particular lifecycle. Okay, there might be some other stages as well, but you need to understand these stages more importantly. Okay, so you got an idea what is software development lifecycle. So this will be going on in every software development project. Now we have something called waterfall. Okay, we have understood software development lifecycle. In the same way, we have something called software development uh, methods. Okay, which is waterfall and agile. Okay, software development lifecycle can be classified into different methods. Okay, we have waterfall model and agile model. So the waterfall model, the left side model, it was adapted by the IT industry in the early 2000s. Okay, in early 2000, it was being adapted. Companies were still using that waterfall model, but even though it had some drawbacks, companies are still using to this day. Some of the companies are still using to this day. Okay, so we'll try to understand what are the drawbacks in waterfall model and what made companies to shift from waterfall to agile. Okay, we'll try to understand that first. Okay, so waterfall model. So in waterfall model, all the project activities, whatever we have discussed until now, the analysis, the idea part, the designing, development, build, testing, quality assurance, all these stages are in the waterfall model are broken down in a linear sequential phase. Are broken down in a linear sequential phase. Linear sequential phase in the sense all the stages are connected to each other in a linear manner. If you see this, the concept part, the idea part, then the starting part, initiation, the analysis, designing, development. Okay, all these stages are involved in a linear manner, which means that all these stages are dependent upon the each of the other stages. Okay, which means that all these stages are depending upon the deliverables of the other stages. Okay, I'll try to make you understand much. I mean, I'll give you an idea. For example, the idea part. Okay, the concept part, then the initiation part, then the development part. Okay, so what is happening is that once the development is ready, then only the build activity will start. Okay, when the build activity is completed, then only the testing part will be starting. And once the testing part is totally completed, then only it will move on to the quality assurance part. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is like all the stages are interlinked with each other. Okay, all the stages are interlinked with each other and it depends upon the deliverables of the previous stage. Okay, and once the previous stage is completely successful, then only we can proceed with the next stage. Okay, so what is happening is here, this approach from waterfall model had several drawbacks because of this. Okay, this approach from waterfall model, like we have to depend on each and every other stage, right? So once the previous stage is completed, then only the next team started working on. Okay, this had several drawbacks, especially it affected the faster delivery of the product. Okay, because of this particular model, the companies couldn't achieve the concept of faster delivery. Okay, once faster delivery is not possible, obviously the higher quality in less time was also not possible. Okay, and when system had an outage, the recovery time taken by the company to resolve that issue was so high, it used to cost many of the customers. Okay, got it guys? Any doubts until now? If you want to ask any doubts related to the waterfall model, you can ask. Okay, you can unmute yourself or you can drop a message in the chat box. So waterfall model had these drawbacks because all the stages were interlinked with each other. All the stages were depending upon the deliverables of the other stages, and it affected the faster delivery concept of organizational goal. Okay, so this made a lot of companies to move. or shift their concept, their working model to agile. Okay, the right hand side part, the agile part. Okay, so what is happening in agile is now what is happening in agile is like there is no depending upon the other stages. The each stages will be working independently, and the other, and it will be not at all linked with any other stages of the software development. Okay, for example, if the development is going on parallelly, the testing of the code will also takes place. Once the testing is going on, obviously parallelly the build of that code will be taking place. Okay, and parallelly the QA will be taking place, the monitoring part and deployment part. All the stages were going on parallelly without any dependency on the other stages. Okay, the same stages which are taking place in the waterfall, the same stages are going on here also, but with much more flexibility and faster manner, without any dependency on the other stages. Got it right? You can see in the diagram as well. Here concept is going on, and designing and analysis and development and testing, all the stages are not dependent, and they are taking place parallelly and without any dependency. Okay, so there is much more flexibility here, guys. When there is much more flexibility, obviously companies will try to focus on faster delivery. They will be able to deliver the product much more faster. Okay, and it also obviously it affected the higher quality as well. Okay, they were able to deliver the product with much more higher quality. And if any issue happens, any if any of the servers are down, if any issue happens, they were able to recover that very much faster when compared to the waterfall model. Okay, so this was the main difference between the agile and waterfall model, which made a lot of companies to move to shift their working model to waterfall to agile. Now today, on this day, 90% of the software development in the software companies is taking place in agile methodology only. 90% of the projects. Okay, so this was one of the important thing which we need to discuss. So see this slide. In the waterfall model, the project is considered as a very huge chunk. Okay, it is considered as a very huge part where the the person who is developing that particular product, okay, if it is a development team or a testing team, he's considering it as a very big part. But whereas if coming to the agile, the project is divided into subtasks. Okay, the project is divided into smaller parts, and it is divided into subtasks, and people started using, I mean, they started completing those subtasks, and finally the end product is the same end product. We can achieve it with a shorter period of time. Okay, now once, okay, we have discussed about waterfall and agile and software development. Now we can come into the main part. What is DevOps and what is the need of DevOps in the software development? Okay, now we have something called development team and operational team. Now development team is people who comes under development team are like the people who write the code, the people who build the code, testing team, quality analysis team. All those people come into the development part. Okay, and coming to the operational team, which people can be called as operational team? uh, Mainly the deployment team, the system admins, server admins, network administrators, monitoring team, maintenance team. All these people come into the operational team part. Okay, now we need to understand there is a gap between these two teams, development team and operational team. So let's try to understand the what is that gap and how we can overcome it. Okay, so usually what happens is whenever the development takes place, okay, whenever the development team will start writing the code, whenever the development takes place, they try to change the code as per the client's requirement. Okay, so if they say that we are giving this product and clients say that no, we don't need this color, we need another color, or we need some other modification in this particular place, whatever the changes the client ask, the development team will start making those changes into the code, right? So when they modify the code or when they update the changes, they try to introduce the new ideas as well, right, into the project. So this creates a challenges for the operational team. Okay, this creates a challenges for the operational team. Okay, Okay, so this guy, he's making some changes in the code, right? He's introducing the changes in the code, and this is creating a challenge to the operational team guy. Okay, so some of the challenges faced by the operational team guys, which is always about the which is always the concern about the productivity. So he'll be considering, he has some challenges. Those challenges are nothing but whether the product will be stable or not, or whether it will also fail or not. Okay, and whether the client will be satisfied with these new changes or not. Okay, so they have this constant pressure to deliver the product faster and see whether the product is stable or not. Okay, so they'll also try to understand, they'll also try to improve the process quality of the delivery as soon as possible. Okay, and the operational team guy, this guy is, these guys are always buried under the mountain of reporting. They have to create report for each and every stage, each and every step, whatever they do, they have to create a report for that. Okay, and they have to submit that as well. So if any new release happens, new release in the sense any new changes happens in the code, they need to move the product into the production stage and start creating the reports for it. Okay, so this guy is changing, right? This guy has introduced a change in the code. So this operational guy has to report that change. Okay, he has to deliver that change into the production, and he have to report it, and he have to send it back to the client that this has change has happened. Please notify it, please check it whether it's working or not, and please revert us back. And once the feedback comes, again he has to feed that back into the system. Okay, so this whole challenges, okay, this whole part, this everything, whenever the change happens, this operational team has to sit and they have to work on all these issues. Okay, so this whole task carries out only if, so this whole task carries out only if the development team changes any changes, or else this guy will be sitting idle. Okay, but usually that doesn't happen actually. Okay, so development team will finish writing the code and hand over the code to the operational team for the deployment, and operational team will has to work out on the deploying in the different environments. I mean, whenever the development happens, the operational team will try to testing on different environments, whether it's Linux, Windows, Solaris, AIX, or whatever it is, Macintosh. They'll try to deploy the application on different environments, and they try to check it whether it's working perfectly or not. So if the operation teams are always against, so because of this reason, the operational team is always against the new changes or updates. Okay, because changes, whenever they are introducing changes, this creating a lot of work for the development team, right? So sorry, I have said that wrong. So whenever the development say whenever the development team changes, whenever the development team introduces any changes, this creates a lot of task for the operational teams. Okay, that's the main reason. That is one of the major reason the operational teams are against the changes or new updates in the project. Okay, so this always created a gap between the development team and operational team. Okay, this created a gap between the development and operational team. So how this guy is introducing changes and this guy is opposing that we don't need that change. Okay, so this gap was always there in the software development projects. Okay, so in order to overcome this gap, overcome this gap and bridge a gap between okay, to make these two teams to work together, there was a concept created called DevOps. Okay, in order to make these two teams work together and develop the product fast and deliver it to the client, there was a new concept created called DevOps. Okay, DevOps. We'll try to understand what is DevOps. Okay, so DevOps, the dev word is taken from development. Okay, and the operation, the ops is taken from operation. Okay, so what a DevOps engineer does on day-to-day basis and how he is filling up the gap between the two teams, that is what we will try to understand now. So clear until now? Shall we proceed further? Did you got the what is the major reason why DevOps was created and what a DevOps person is going to do?
Yes, I got.
If you guys have any doubt, you can ask. Okay. So fine. So to overcome this problem, to fill up the gap between the development team and operational team, the DevOps was created. Okay, so Dev was taken from development team and Ops was taken from operational team. So basically, a DevOps person is a engineer. Okay, DevOps engineer is a person who will be bridging in the sense who will be filling the gap between the two teams by handling both development task and operational task. Okay, he'll be handling both development task, partial he'll be handling partially development task as well. He will handle partially the operational team as well. Okay, so how he'll handle, he will try to automate them. Okay, he will try to automate the task which is present in the development and operational teams. Okay, so what kind of tools he will use for automation? These are some of the sample tools. Okay, these tools are not constant. Okay, the companies might change other tools as well. I've just given this example. Okay, so for writing the code and sending the code into the central repository, we'll be using Git. Okay, and for build, we'll be using Maven. For testing, we can use JUnit or Selenium. For release management, for continuous integration, we'll be using Jenkins. For monitoring, Nagios, Datadog, Splunk. And for operations, we'll be using Chef and Ansible and Kubernetes. And for deployment, we can use AWS, Docker, and DC. Okay, so these are some of the tools. These are some of the tools which can be used for different stages in the software development. Okay, so these tools might change as per the company's requirement. Okay, so these tools are not constant. So what a DevOps engineer will do, he will try to bridge the gap. He will try to fill up the gap between the development team and operational team by how he will do it. He will try to automate the task by using different tools. Okay, so as a DevOps engineer, we'll be working on different tools to automate the task which will be using for bridging the gap between development and operational teams. Got an idea what is DevOps and what is a DevOps what DevOps engineer will be doing on daily basis? So we'll try to understand the question further in this slide. Okay, so DevOps person is a person. Okay, he's a someone who is having a very good understanding of development, software development lifecycle. Okay, he should have complete understanding how the data flows. What are the stages involved in software development lifecycle, which we have just seen in few slides ago, and how the data is going on from starting from idea to design, analysis, development, testing, all the stages. He has to understand and he has to have a very good knowledge on this particular each and every stages of the software development. Okay, and he should have good knowledge on automation tools. Whatever the tools which we have discussed, which we have seen here, he should have a very good knowledge on automation tools. See, there are like many, there are like 1 lakh plus tools present in the market. Okay, 1 lakh plus. We can't learn each and every tool, but we have to, at least we should be very good with at least 10 tools. Okay, we should be very good with 10 tools so that at least we can work with the equivalent of that tool. If we can learn one tool, we can learn the similar tool very easily. Okay, that's why we should be able to learn at least 10 tools for a DevOps engineer. Okay, so he should have a very good knowledge for the automation tools. Okay, you should be adept at developing the continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline. Okay, so continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline, which means that this whole process, see this whole process of continuous the writing the code, planning it, okay, then building, testing, release, deployment, operation, this whole stage, this is the software development lifecycle. Okay, and this will be going on in a continuous manner. Okay, see this diagram, how it is in the shape of infinity, right? Infinity. Okay, which means that it will be going on continuously. Okay, it will be going on continuously, and he should be able to understand this continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline very well. Okay, from where to where, which stage is going on, which applications are being used, which tools are being used, and what can be done for automating tasks. Okay, so all those knowledge the DevOps engineer should be having. So the skills the DevOps engineer should have, he or she should be proficient in the scripting languages like Python. Okay, he should be having a knowledge in scripting languages like Python. Okay, so I will be giving you Python scripting basics part, but if you want to be an expert in Python scripting, you need to learn Python scripting in a separate course. Okay, you need to learn a Python scripting in separate course, but I will be giving you the basics introduction of the Python scripting. Okay, then the DevOps engineer should have knowledge in CI/CD pipeline. Just now we have discussed, right? This continuous integration and continuous deployment. In short, it is called as CI/CD. Okay, the DevOps engineer should be having a knowledge in the CI/CD pipeline. The DevOps engineer should reasonably adapt to configuration management tools like Chef and Ansible. Okay, so again, the configuration management tools comes for the operational part. To handle the operational team tasks, we should have knowledge in Chef and Ansible. Okay, and DevOps engineer should have good knowledge in working with the containers. Okay, now what is containers and why we should have knowledge in that, we'll discuss in some other, some other day, because it's a very huge concept. Containers is a very huge concept which will be coming under Docker. Okay, which will be coming under Docker. Okay, so the DevOps engineer should have knowledge in working with the containers as well. Got it? What a DevOps engineer should have, what kind of knowledge he should have to become a very good DevOps engineer. These are the requirements. So day-to-day life of a DevOps engineer, what a DevOps engineer will be doing on day-to-day basis. Okay, so he'll be expected to do this daily to maintain the DevOps pipeline. DevOps pipeline in the sense CI/CD pipeline. Okay, he should see that all the stages are being successfully executed, and if any issues are there, that should be brought to the DevOps engineers notice. Okay, the DevOps engineer should build and maintain server and support systems. Okay, so this whole part, the Jenkins and Nagios part, will be coming under the server part. The DevOps engineer, he or she should be able to build and maintain the servers. If any issues happen, he will be the first person who will be coming into the picture to resolve those issues. Work on ops. Okay, so he'll be working with the operational team to fix the issues and diagnose any build failures. So he'll try to understand why the issue has occurred and how can be issue can be fixed, and he will try to see that those issues doesn't come again. Okay, so he'll be working on engineering and architectural enhancements as well. So he'll try to see that if any enhancements can be done, any further security measures can be taken, all those things will be taken care by DevOps engineer as well. Okay, so he is expected to do this all these things. So which means that we should be able to learn all these things. Okay, when we'll be able to learn all these things successfully, then we can do all these things without any issues, right? So these tasks may vary depending upon the organization and project requirements. There is no rule that every company should have these requirements only, but still these are the major requirements which many of the companies will ask. Okay, fine. So points to be remembered, guys. What we need to understand before going into the classes, technical part. DevOps is not a tool. Many people think that many people think that DevOps is all about tools. Okay, DevOps is all about tools, but no, DevOps is not a tool, guys. It's a methodology. It's a methodology. It's a process actually, or we can say it's a philosophy. Okay, it's a methodology. It's not a tool. Many students, fresher students ask me that which tool we can learn very fast and we can become a DevOps engineer. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, DevOps is not a tool. It's a methodology. It's a process which we need to understand from where the data is going on, and from which stage to which stage the data is going on, and how can we achieve automation by using different tools. We are using different tools, but it doesn't mean that DevOps is a application. It's a philosophy actually. Okay, so we should understand that DevOps is not a tool. So cloud computing knowledge has become mandatory. Yes, many of the companies are shifting their infrastructure to the cloud computing platforms. Okay, they are no more interested in maintaining the physical infrastructure. Physical infrastructure in the sense, what are the servers they have in the projects? Hmm? They have invested a lot of money, right? Again, they need to renew it with new servers. They need to install software. They need to hire engineers. They need to every month they need to install patches, updates, security measures, antiviruses. All those headaches companies are not ready to take anymore. They are They're moving this physical infrastructure to cloud. Cloud in the sense AWS or Azure or GCP, whatever it is. Okay, so they are moving the physical servers to AWS cloud computing platform. So because of that, we should have at least basic knowledge of cloud computing. Okay, which we will be learning as well. I will also teach you AWS basics part. Okay, which is required for a DevOps engineer. Both freshers and experience can be switched to DevOps. There is no rule that experienced person should work on DevOps and fresher should not work. Anyone can learn DevOps very easily. Okay, so Linux basic knowledge will be advantage. If you have Linux basic knowledge, then fine. That is a added advantage to you guys. But if not, no problem. I'm going to teach you Linux fundamentals as well. Okay, we'll teach you from scratch what is Linux and what are the basic commands. How can we use different commands for different purposes? All those things we'll be teaching you in the Linux fundamental classes. Programming language knowledge will be added advantage. If you are from background, if you are from a developing background, that will be a added advantage for you, because it will help you to understand the concepts very much faster. But if you're not from a programming language background, no issues. Don't worry that it will not I mean, you will be not able to learn it. You can easily learn it, because we'll be teaching you from scratch, and all the basics will be shared with you. Okay, all the basics and all the material will be shared with you. So don't worry that if you are not from a programming background, you'll be not able to understand DevOps concepts. There is nothing like that. You can understand very much easily. Okay, so more job opportunities for DevOps role. If you just open Naukri today, and or LinkedIn, or whatever the job portal it is, just type DevOps and search for the DevOps role. Okay, and you can see like at least 1,000+ openings will be there. At least minimum 1,000+ openings will be there in the whatever, whether it's Naukri, whether it's LinkedIn, whatever it is, you can see 1,000+ openings, because all the companies are having this gap between the development and operational team. They're having this gap between the development and operational team. They want to fill up this gap. They want to fill up this gap with DevOps engineers. Okay, this is the reason. As I have told you, 90% of the companies are working on agile methodology. Okay, and they want to fill up this gap as soon as possible with the help of DevOps engineer. And once DevOps engineer comes into the picture, lot of tasks will be automated, and they can deliver the product to the client as soon as possible. Okay, understood, right? So next, future is automation, guys. Lot of as I just now, as I told you, a lot of companies are moving towards automation. They want to automate all the manual tasks. Okay, they want to automate all the manual tasks. They want to deliver the product to the client as soon as possible. For that, we'll be needing lot of tools. Okay, and a lot of tools with a very good knowledge on that. And who is going to work on that? A DevOps engineer. Okay, so what are we going to learn in our 60 days course? Okay, in our next 60 days course, we'll be learning Linux fundamentals. What is Linux? What are the basic commands? How can we use different commands for different purposes? All those things will come under the Linux fundamentals. And also, we'll be learning AWS cloud computing as well. We'll try to see introduction of AWS. We'll try to see EC2 service, complete EC2 service. We'll try to launch different servers in Linux, Windows. We'll try to use the auto scaling part, the load balancer part. We'll use different images. We'll try to see the accidental termination. All those things, complete EC2 will be seeing it. Then we'll see the monitoring service called CloudWatch. Okay. We'll see Git for version controlling, Docker for containerization, Ansible for configuration management, Jenkins for continuous integration, Nagios for continuous monitoring, Chef again. These two are these two comes under configuration management. Okay, so again Chef for configuration management, and Maven for continuous build. Okay, so we'll be learning all these tools in our DevOps classes for the next 60 days. Okay, next to 60 days. And apart from this, we'll also see Python scripting basics. Okay, Python scripting basics. Okay, fine. So what you guys need now? in order to start our classes, in order to start our course, what we need? We'll be needing a laptop or desktop, okay, with a decent configuration, okay, and a AWS account for practice. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to learn here DevOps. Okay, DevOps. So for practicing DevOps, we need lot of the DevOps tools. What are the tools which I have discussed will be on Linux. Okay, they will be on Linux environment. So in order to practice Linux, we should be able to launch Linux servers, right? And for launching those Linux servers, we'll be using AWS. Okay, I'll repeat that. We are learning DevOps here, and a lot of tools in DevOps are in Linux environment. Okay, a lot of tools are in Linux environment. And in order to practice Linux, in order to launch Linux servers, we will be using AWS account. Okay, so that's the reason we should have a AWS account, and how to create an account and how to start practicing it, I will be showing in the next class. And finally, Putty and PuttyGen. Okay, so these are the tools which will be used for connecting our Linux servers which are present in the AWS. Okay, this is a software which we need to install in our laptop or desktop so that we can connect to our Linux servers. Okay, these are the things, these two things. Okay, these two things are needed for connecting to our Linux servers. Okay, so my way of teaching, what I'm going to teach you in which way. So I'll be teaching, first I'll be giving you the theoretical part. And once the theoretical part is completely clear, the concept is completely understood by you guys, then I'll be giving you the practical knowledge. Okay, the same theoretical part will be implemented in the practical part by using our AWS account. After that, once the concept is completed, whatever the tool is completed, for example, Git is completed, then I'll share you the interview questions and answers. Okay, because you can immediately start practicing the theoretical and practical part, and you can start checking the interview questions as well. Because ultimately, the final goal is to become a DevOps engineer by getting a DevOps job, right? So also I'll be providing the interview question and answers. Then I'll provide you the additional material. Okay, I'll provide you the additional material, whatever the material which I have prepared over the course, over all my 8 years of experience, what are the material I have created. I'll share it with you guys. You can practice it and you can keep it for reference. And at the end of the each topic, I'll give you a mock assessment. Okay, mock assessment means a small test. Okay, small test for 15 minutes. You can attend that test if you want, to just to check whether how much you have understood about that particular tool. Okay, and finally, at the end of our last class, I'll give you the resume preparation and tips for a DevOps engineer. What are the things which we need to keep in our resume in order to crack the interview as soon as possible. Okay, so these are the methods which I'm going to use for teaching, and and that's it for the demo, guys. If you have any doubts, you can start asking. If you guys have any doubts, you can start asking now.
So, hi, this is
Please give
Pravat.
us fee details.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhat, please go
Hello.
ahead.
So, I am from different background. So what is the prerequisites required for these courses? So, can I pursue this course?
So you are saying that you are from a different background. So if you are not from
Yeah,
IT
yeah.
industry, like if you are from any banking, financial, sales, marketing, telecom, whatever it is, don't worry. Uh,
Okay.
so what we are going to do is like we are going to learn from scratch, right? Each and every tool, each and every concept will be taught you from the scratch. So you don't you don't need to worry about whether you will be able to understand the concept or not, because we'll be teaching you from scratch. So you'll be able to understand very easily. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And Srinivas has asked about fee details. So guys, what I'll do is like I'll give you the Durga Soft management email ID and mobile number. Just contact with them, because I'm not the person to discuss about the fee details. So check your chat box. I have given the email ID and mobile number. So call to them or email to them. They will help you out with the fee structure. Okay. And the class is for 60 days, guys. The classes will take place for 60 days, including all the um, weekends and national holidays. Okay. And we'll have every day the session will be from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And if you have any requirements with respect to the timings, like you need to change your timing or something, just contact with the Durga Soft management. We'll try to discuss about that. Okay. And any other doubts, guys? If you guys are confirming that you'll be joining, you can drop your mobile number in the chat box so that what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create a WhatsApp group. I'll add your number into that WhatsApp group so that all our classes details, all our batch details, like the material, class material, the question and answers, all those things will be shared in that WhatsApp group. Okay. If you guys are interested in joining this class. Any other doubts, guys? We'll be having classes from Monday to Friday, and Saturday, Sunday will be offline. Okay. Saturday, Sunday will be off, leave for us, because we'll be practicing the MNC culture. Okay. Any other doubts, guys? So Monday to Friday, early morning 7 to 8 a.m. So any other doubts, guys? Shall we wrap it up? Shall we conclude this call?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. And if you have any queries, please talk to the email, the number which I have given in the chat box. Okay. Thank you so much and have a great day. This is Venkat. Bye.
Thank you.